Join now. Make sure all the audio levels are right. Everybody can hear everything going on. Computer audio, desktop audio, properties, default, headset mic, everything's perfect. Awesome. I just want to make sure all of you guys can see this. Everybody's good in the chat. Everybody's here. Excellent. Add to restart. There we go. Making sure everything's good. Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we are live right now on Twitch and Kick. So I went over a little bit about what y'all do over there and the amazing work that you guys do. I got a couple questions prepared here at the end, but why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and what y'all do over there?
Yeah. So thanks for this opportunity. This is great way to connect to folks out there. So I'm Paul Berry. I'm did 30 years in the United States Marine Corps. I served from 1986 and retired in 2016. 30 years is an awful long time.
Wow.
Deployed 11 times. I spent 3 tours in Iraq, a tour in Afghanistan, but I've been to places like Kosovo and Somalia and places you heard about a long time ago. Did everything, went all around the world and back and lived to tell about it. Got in this veteran nonprofit space kind of by accident, friend of a friend type thing, said, hey, why don't you look into this and apply for a job, and I did. And then I got in the veteran space. I was on the coast of North Carolina, of course, in the Marine Corps for years, but then had family up here, school, colleges, all that here, and just kind of gravitated back towards Raleigh. And then I got into the work with Veterans Bridge Home, in particular what we call MC Serves, and that's the first statewide network of coordinated care for veterans and their families in any state, but it was the first one to go statewide in North Carolina. And that's exactly what we do. We are a coordinated care network. So a veteran can call us, a veteran can go online and come to us, or a community partner can refer a veteran to us, and then we will screen them, do their intake, and then what we do is we manage their referral within the community so the veteran doesn't have to feel alone in this journey, because it's complex. I mean, you can imagine being when you're in the military, you have access to everything you need. You know what your mission is.
Right.
You have access to all the resources that you ever need. The Department of Defense has great resources, so anything you would ever need is right at your fingertips. Well, you get out of the military, even just 4 years, and you come back to Raleigh, for example, the world has changed.
Oh, yeah.
Completely. Technology has changed, and then access to resources are a challenge. So now you got like, how do I navigate these resources? So what we want to do is we like to connect with the veterans before they ever have a problem. We wanted them to connect socially. So what is it that they do? Do they hunt? Do they fish? Is it gaming? Is it chess? Is it hiking? We want them to get connected socially in their local communities, so that if they do have some challenges, they're more likely to reach out to an organization like Veterans Bridge Home to say, hey, I think I'd like to get a job. I need some interview skills, some resumes, some work. Or they could fall on hard times and they may need some help with some food to say, hey, look, financially I'm a little strapped right now.
Of course.
Hey, so, and these are not handouts to our veterans. These are hands up. We call it a hand up. Like, hey, they've served our country. They're a little strapped right now. We'll find it almost from like a faith-based organization to say, hey, this veteran's strapped for some food right now. Can you help? And we truly do that whole community where it takes a village concept to do it. So I'll stop at that and what we do. We have a small team. They're very motivated, very connected. We're very technology focused behind the scenes. That's what makes this work behind the scenes is technology.
Of course.
It's made it work, and we thrived, even though COVID was a horrible thing. We thrived during COVID because we were already using technology to refer veterans virtually.
Right.
So I think we were a couple of years ahead of this. We certainly didn't predict the pandemic, but when it happened, it was like the need, we were able to meet the growing needs, and we were able to grow our organization appropriately to meet even bigger needs. So I'll pause for that. I'm curious to hear these questions.
Yeah, so I didn't prepare too many. I don't want to keep you too long. I mean, it's your birthday, of course,
Sure.
So some of these are from the community, and then a couple I know you talked to my mother, Andrea. So All right, so we have a couple. The first question here are what are some of the most common needs that veterans and their families have?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, you think, what is that? What's the need? Well, the biggest need is actually housing.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know the rising
actual-
prices are insane too.
yeah, the prices, but so think of the spectrum of a veteran. Let's just say a homeless veteran.
Right,
So
right.
a homeless veteran needs emergency housing. Then they
Yes.
need what's called transitional housing. Then they need permanent housing. But just getting and keeping and acquiring housing. For example, we can help veterans get great jobs in the Triangle. For example, in the Raleigh area, like Research Triangle, they have great soft skills. These veterans do, so their interview skills. And that's what people want. But where do they live?
Right. I mean, and also, how do they get there?
Yeah. How do we get them to the job, and then how do we house them? So we work on that. But that's the greatest
Okay.
need. And I would say after that is employment,
Right.
and then after that, the third one is access to their benefits, and then it's kind of what your mother does when it comes to
Which
working with the
that
state.
that's tough.
Yeah. So, and those three co-occur 30% of the time. So I don't want to sound like a data geek, but I live in the data. So if they have a housing issue, there's a 30% chance or 33% chance that they need help with employment and they need help with their benefits. And their benefits could be their VA benefits, but it could also be state benefits, like where your mother
Yep,
works.
of
I
course,
actually worked
right.
down there where she works for a while. There's a lot of benefits that veterans earn from the state of North Carolina that they're often just not aware of. And what the beauty of our people is we help them navigate that stuff, and that's a co-occurring need. Instead of addressing just the housing, we're addressing
Trying to get the
all
whole
of it.
picture. Right.
Yeah. We call it a whole health approach. So it's
Okay.
let's address this holistically. So yeah, it's really really good stuff.
Awesome. All right. So, our second question here is: how can people help other than financially? Is there any other ways to help? Any volunteering opportunities or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, anybody that's generous, any donation helps,
Right.
providing services for veterans, the growing cost of everything, and providing outreach and service for veterans is expensive.
Oh yes.
But necessary. So anybody who's generous enough to donate, we from the bottom of our hearts, we just greatly appreciate anything. But another way to give back is time, and time is the most precious thing that any of us has.
Of course.
I would encourage them to reach out to Veterans Bridge Home, and they can go to veteransbridgehome.org, go to our website.
Okay.
We have a newsletter that comes out weekly. You can sign yourself up for that. If you have questions, you have a phone number you can call. If you need more information, you can just submit an assistance request form from our website and say, hey, I'm interested in volunteering. I live in the Raleigh area. I live in Fayetteville. Pick somewhere, Henderson, North Carolina.
Right.
I want to look at giving back. We're going to call that person, and they don't have to be a veteran. It could just be someone who's like, hey, I just want to see what's going on and where I can help. We're going to call them and have a conversation and say, hey, where do you live? What are you looking to do? Because they often have great skill sets that benefit us when it comes to serving the organization. So we want to say, hey, what are you really good at, and how does that fit? And then what we'll do is we'll work with partner organizations to make that connection. You can either volunteer directly with Veterans Bridge Home, or we connect you to one of our partners locally to where they may need help. And we often need help with outreach events. We're just always out in the community at events. Your mother does it, I do it.
Yep.
She and I are always out there. Yeah, we're always out there together. But sometimes we just need help with that. People that are good talking to people, that are comfortable talking to people, and that are good with guiding people through technology, how to scan a QR code on a phone, things like that, like how to do those steps in there. Because we don't take for granted everybody's real comfortable with scanning a QR code and then signing up for something.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. But we help with that. So volunteers to help with that. And then some of it's just real basic stuff. I call it the grunt work. Sometimes we just go out and need help to
setting up tables or something.
Yeah, setting up tables. Some of these events are really, really big every year, where there's hundreds of veterans a day come through certain events, and they just need people to carry cases of water. And I would say just have the conversation, because other ways are donations, and it doesn't have to be a financial donation. Often people will say, well, what if I donate a dozen cases of water? Or, hey, my organization, or, hey, I'm part of this group. We're a runners club. How do we give back? Well, it's like, then I'll just give them a hint, like, well, if you donated a dozen cases of water for this event in March, trust me, that's the dozen cases of water we don't have to find.
Exactly.
So, or things like that. So, yeah, great question.
Okay. And then so mental health is obviously very important. I know my father was at Camp Lejeune during the water poisoning, so he's very sick. I take care of him pretty much full time. Yeah. And mental health is very, very important. you know, especially right now. As a combat veteran yourself, what are some ways that we can all help our veterans struggling with mental health issues?
Yeah. First of all, yeah, tell your father hello, and I'm part of that Camp Lejeune water too. I drank the contaminated water.
I mean, and you know, right now it's definitely a struggle with the VA trying to get them with all that stuff. You know.
Yeah, and I think they're getting there. I think what community members can do is learn more about the veterans space, what's available to veterans, because you know we can't reach every veteran in North Carolina,
right?
But through partnerships and collaboration, through agencies and organizations, we can touch everybody. But it has to be through other folks. I think learning more about the veteran space. So again, I would encourage folks to go to veteransbringhome.org, like I said,
right,
and say, hey, I want to learn more about what I can do, so we can have a conversation. We also offer training for organizations, for people in human services organizations. So it doesn't have to be for veterans. We're veteran focused, but if you're dealing with people that are having housing struggles, that's a high stress situation. That's tough on somebody, and then you add in their experiences in the military,
right?
Then it really becomes a stressful situation. We offer training. One of the trainings is called mental health first aid training. It's a day-long course. A lot of social workers need it. We're not social worker heavy. Another training we do that's only a couple hours is called QPR, and QPR stands for question, persuade, and refer. So if you're talking to somebody, it doesn't have to be a veteran, and you ask them, have you thought about killing yourself? And they say yes. This gives you the confidence of what to do.
Right, like how to communicate with that person.
How to communicate with the person, but also how to get resources and not have 911 coming with guns blazing and all that stuff. But because there's specially trained law enforcement folks out there that are crisis intervention focused. So hey, they know this is a veteran in crisis, so they send the right resource. And one thing we do now, because we have some federal funding that we secured, is we screen every veteran that comes to us for mental health now.
Oh, that's great.
You know, if they deny the screening for mental health, we don't stop and deny them. We just move on and help them no matter what. So if we say, hey, are you open to a couple mental health screening questions? And if they say, no, I just need my housing situation fixed, I'm not interested in that right now, that's great too. We'll move on and help them. But if they say yes, we're going to screen them a couple questions, kind of like going to your doctor.
Right.
And because when they're struggling with, like I said, the housing, the employment, the benefits, the finances, food, you couple that with their experiences in the military, and you got to have uniquely trained folks out there to be able to identify that. And then what we try to do is we do it in a non-clinical way. Now, we have clinical folks on staff, if need be, for the most complex veterans that are in crisis. But we do it in a way where we're just having a conversation with a fellow veteran, just to say, hey.
I feel like talk therapy is honestly the most effective.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say sometimes we have hour-long conversations that are literally just talk therapy. We call it coaching into care. We're coaching them on, hey, this is a resource. Have you thought about this? We want them to buy into what they want to do. We never want to make it like, hey, you have to execute our plan. We want them to
right.
Yeah, we want them to say, yeah, hey, I'm good with that, or hey, I'm willing to do that. Because if it feels forced, that's it. It's not real.
I mean, nobody wants to do it, right?
No. It has to feel real. So we call it coaching into care, and it's very successful. We're just having a conversation.
That's awesome, and I love that you guys offer the courses too. I did post your website on here because I have about 50, 60 veterans who follow my channel and whatnot, and then about 500 other people. So I want those other people to be able to help any of their friends or connections in this community.
Yeah, I never think of just hey, if you want to know more, and even just if you're not a veteran, learn about the veterans community. Call your county. Every county has veteran service officers. They can also call North Carolina Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. There's the plug for that. For where your mother worked. They do a lot more too. They do state veterans homes, nursing homes for veterans. They have the cemeteries for veterans, and they also do the benefits for veterans. And they do some scholarships and some stuff too. So people don't even know that there's scholarship money out there through the state of North Carolina for the children of veterans or the veterans themselves. Like, you don't know until you ask, and that's what I encourage is, hey, send them to the right place, have a conversation with the right person, like your mother, and then they're going to find those resources. But I would just say, hey, just be curious about helping veterans. And the needs that veterans have are the same needs that everyone else has. It's just that veterans often have unique experiences from their combat or military experiences that makes it unique, where we need a higher level of care often when we work with them.
Of course, of course. All right, well, that was actually the last question.
All right, well, good.
Well, thank you so much for coming out. Happy birthday. I got the donation page up here. Our goal for this stream is $250 because I saw on your website that it'll help one family. That's correct,
That's
right?
right. Yep, that's about the average cost.
Perfect.
Yep.
So we got that up there, your website, and any donations, obviously I told them go directly to your website, but anybody else who donates to the stream over the next 3 days, I'm also donating directly to. So I just want to make sure, help out as much as I can, So thank you so much for coming out, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. All right, everybody. That was Paul Berry. He's amazing. Definitely go check out Veterans Bridge Home. They do some really, really great stuff. I gotta sit here and switch back the camera. I don't know what's going on with the camera. I don't understand why it's working, but we're gonna sit here. Let me see if I can switch this back around. I know you guys can't see me right this second. Let me switch this around. Give me 1 second, everybody. There we go. We got our camera back. Woo! Everybody, definitely go check it out. I have the pin message at the top of how to support them, veteransbridgehome.org. Anything helping them at all, anything